The year is about to end, so I decided to rank Ninjago 2023 sets from worst to first, and no, this will not include polybags and spinners, only the boxed sets, which are kinda the easiest to properly compare. Now, this list will be based off just my own opinion, and believe me, there will be some hot takes. So if you disagree with me, that's totally fine, feel free to comment some of your takes in the comment section down below. Now, let's get started. My first take could already be controversial, but at 21st place we have Cold's Earth Dragon, and yeah, I mean, this set has many issues in my opinion. One of the biggest issues is actually the price point, $35, that's just unbearable to me, like, that's really just incredibly unfair. If you look at some of the 2024 sets, you also get 2 minifigures and a build of a similar size, and that costs $20, while here this set costs $35, which is just unacceptable in my opinion. And besides that, the dragon just doesn't look good at all, like it looks pretty ugly to me. I think it definitely looked better when I initially looked at it, but like seeing some of the reviews, it's definitely not that good. And especially if you take off some of the more, crucial details, it looks absolutely terrible. Like that's genuinely like some kind of a deformed frog on steroids. Would you agree? So if I had to rate this one, I would go with around 2.5 out of 10. It's a really bad set in my opinion. Unfortunately, I can't really defend it in many ways, At number 20, we have Kai and Rass's car and bike battle. And yeah, this is a 4+ set. I definitely took some consideration in that, but still, the two vehicles look absolutely terrible. Like, they are genuinely some of the worst vehicle builds that I've seen, even in the 4+ line. But at least the playability is there, that can be pretty fun for kids, If you buy that for 2 kids, they can play with this, each one having one of the cars, it can be pretty fun, I suppose, but visually it's just really weak. But I must say that I definitely respect that they actually decided to put Lord Rass in such a small 4+ set, because that minifigure is just really detailed and not exactly what you would expect from a 4+ set. So if I had to rate it, I would kinda go with more of a lower 3.5 out of 10. At number 19, we have another 4+ set, Nia's and Erin's Baby Dragon Battle, and this set is a little better than the one we just took a look at. I think the Imperium Flyer is quite okay for a 4+ set, I must say. And then the dragon, I don't know, I like some individual parts of it, but overall it still looks really ugly to me. Minifigures are cool enough, but I don't think this is worth $35, so yeah. I think this one deserves around a 3.5 as well. At number 18, we have Kai's Mech Rider, which, yeah, I don't know. I think conceptually it's not bad, like, a mech riding a bike, that's a bit silly, but somehow I kinda think that concept is alright, but the execution just isn't it. And also, like, that goofy blade just really bothers me, like, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of how they decided to execute the set. Like, it really doesn't look that good to me at all. But also the price, 45 just isn't justifiable here. And the minifigures are actually pretty cool, like each minifigure is good, but I would also like something exclusive, So yeah, this should be around the regular 3.5, I suppose. And yeah, this now might shock a lot of you, but I decided to put Zane's Ice Dragon creature at number 17. And yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of this dragon. Like, it looks atrocious to me, like genuinely. It's one of the worst dragons I could think of, at least at this size. It's just really underwhelming. I think the colors are nice, I'll give you that, and I also think the 3-legged concept on each side is quite okay. Like, dragon having 6 legs is never something we've gotten before, and I think that's pretty unique, but the way they did it is just not it. Like, it looks just incredibly messy, and I'm not a fan of this aesthetic at all. And then you also have that really weird looking jaw, like, the lower jaw is just so much bigger than the upper jaw, which really bothers me. So yeah, also this is a $100 set, which I don't know, I can't entirely see it. And you also don't get a single new minifigure, which I think is really a downside. I think you definitely need to have an exclusive minifigure in a $100 set. Therefore, I guess it's more of a higher 3.5 out of 10 for me. So yeah, now I think we are over the bad selection of sets, but there are still some poor sets that we need to take a look at. At number 16 we have Nia's Water Dragon, and I think that is actually a pretty cool concept. Like, you know, finally getting an affordable Nia dragon is just really nice, but as you know, I'm just not a fan of these core dragons. This just doesn't look good to me. Like, you know, I think it's kind of bearable at some angles, but I don't know, overall it's still pretty ugly. That's just how I see it. Then I think it is actually a way better deal because you actually get free minifigures and it only costs $20, which I think is a lot better price than what we see with Core Dragon. So yeah, I think this one might deserve around a 4 out of 10. I think that's quite fair. Continuing the list, we actually have another $20 set at number 15, which is the Imperium Dragon Hunter Hound. And yeah, I think conceptually this was definitely good. Like, you know, also it's priced pretty well, I would say. Free minifigures, you know, the build could use a little more volume, I suppose, but I think for $20 it is fine. But you know, I think the head is really the problem of this set. Like, you know, this wolf really just has a pretty unique aesthetic, but you know, the head really with those printed eyes, I don't know, it just looks really awkward to me. I feel like having brick built eyes would be a lot better. So yeah, I don't know, the head just doesn't seem right to me, and I think it definitely damages the overall look. So I suppose this one is more of a high 4 out of 10. At number 14 we have Kai's Ninja Race Car, and you know, I don't think there's much wrong with this, but it's just nothing special, you know? It's a little $10 set, you get one minifigure, like pretty cool. Like, you know, I think that can be pretty good for kids, but having another figure to, you know, create more of a battle would be better at this price. And you know, the car itself, I don't know, I just feel like it's not something that you could do so much with, but you know, as kids we all loved cars, and you know, I think this isn't too bad, but you know, just having more going on with this set would definitely make it a bit better. So I will go with 5 out of 10 for this one. So at number 13 we have Lloyd's Epic Mech Battle, and I think, you know, having 2 mechs at this price is pretty cool, but you know, those mechs definitely aren't the best. Like, just let's be honest, they definitely lack some articulation and just aren't that good looking overall. But you know, getting 2 minifigures and 2 different mechs in a $20 set is pretty impressive, which is good for playability. And you know, as for the minifigures, I appreciate that we got a brand new Lloyd minifigure. I think that's actually really cool because they didn't have to do that at all, but I really wish they actually made the torso in regular green, because now it is dark green and it kinda just damages the rest of the color scheme. I really don't know why they did that. So yeah, this one is more of a 5.5 out of 10, I suppose. At number 12 I decided to put the Transforming Heatwave Lava Dragon, and I don't think this is too good of a dragon. Like, I think the color scheme is beautiful. Like, you know, having a full dark red dragon is just really awesome to me, and I also really like the printing on that head. Definitely one of the better dragon heads in the recent years, but the body of the dragon is where it really falls apart in my opinion, and that cursed flip feature just doesn't work in my opinion. I guess it was a pretty cool idea for playability, but as you can see, it just doesn't really work in my opinion. That look is just incredibly weird. I am not a fan of that at all. And as for the minifigures, you get 5 of them, that's pretty cool, and you also get an exclusive Wildfire minifigure, and I think this is how you should include exclusive minifigures in sets, which is definitely good. Overall, this should be more of a higher 5.5 out of 10. Now this might also be a shocker, but at number 11 I decided to put the Destiny's Bounty Race Against Time. And yeah, I think that is actually a really disappointing bounty set. At first I think it's really overpriced, it shouldn't be that expensive in my opinion. But you know, sure, this bounty definitely provides some playability, but it gets pretty weird in some ways. I really don't like the dragon feature, like how you can put it under the deck to kinda give the ship the dragon head, and then when you take Sora the dragon out, then you'll end up with a hole in the bounty. Like, literally you end up with a hole and no dragon head. which definitely looks weird in my opinion. I know that they tried, but that just doesn't look good to me, I'm sorry. And I don't think this modern aesthetic really fits Bounty too much. I mean, my favorite bounties are by far the movie one, and also the legacy one is really awesome. So as you can see, I definitely prefer that additional bounty aesthetic, and you know, the fact they went with more of a fresh look isn't that bad, but I really don't like the era that is like really narrow and kinda makes the overall set look a lot worse in my opinion. And then also the minifigures are just incredibly disappointing at such high price. You only get minifigures that you can get in a magazine or a poly bag. Like that's just really disappointing. We really should have gotten something else in there, and the fact they randomly threw Corvu in there is also pretty disappointing as well. I don't know what was going on with that minifigure selection. Overall, I think it deserves more of a high 5.5 out of 10. Now with the top 10, we finally made it to some decent sets. At number 10 we have Lloyd's and Erin's Ninja Team Max, and I think that's a pretty alright max set. Like, you know, the playability is there, the fact that you can attach Erin's mech to Lloyd's mech to create some more of a bulky mech is pretty cool. Like, you know, it's a little weird, but I think it is pretty creative. And you know, I think the price is also a problem. Like, this is not worth 85, I'm sorry, but it's just not. And then as for the minifigures, we could have gotten something more, but I think it is pretty acceptable. So yeah, I don't think anything is like particularly terrible about this set, but it also doesn't have so much to offer, so I think 6 out of 10 is a pretty fair rating. At number 9 we have Sora's transforming mech bike, and yeah, I actually really like the build. Like, I don't know, I think it's unique, you know, definitely has interesting Sora color scheme, but you know, overall it is definitely an interesting build, and the fact that you can transform it into a bike without taking it apart is actually pretty impressive as well. But you know, I think what really damages this set is the price. Like 48 is just way too much for this. Like, it really should have been like 30, 35. Like, yeah, I don't think this should be over 35, so this being 48 is definitely not too good. And then the minifigures are actually really interesting because this is the only set that doesn't include any characters from Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu or Ninjago Wild Brain Show. So yeah, you basically get a whole new set of characters in this set, which I think is just incredibly interesting. That's, you know, imagine telling someone from 10 years ago that this will be a Ninjago set a decade later. Pretty wild, right? So yeah, overall, I think this is actually more of a good set at a good price, but at the current price, I think it deserves a 6 out of 10 as well. This one might shock you, but at number 8 we have Jace Lightning Jet horror set, which I think, you know, this is a really cool $10 set, and what's so cool about it is that you get just a lot of volume for $10. Like, that literally could have been a $15 set nowadays, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, I think this set could definitely use another minifigure, but you know, that would be just kinda much to ask at $10. But you know, then you kinda look at the current battle pack that is about to come out, and you get 4 minifigures for $10, which is just a steal. So you know, maybe throwing another minifigure in there would definitely improve it, so kids could have more playability going on. But overall, I still think it's a really nice build, and you get the J minifigure, which is also pretty cool, so I think it deserves around a 6.5 out of 10. Then at number 7 we have the Ninja Street Bike, which is a 4+ set. And what I think is good about this one is that, you know, it's $10, it's a 4+ set, and I think it does a pretty good job at that, you know. It's not that special. You obviously get that bike, which is always pretty similar in all 4+ sets, no matter what team you are talking about. But you know, it's cool, you know, you get a bike for Lloyd, and then you have a pretty cool little side build for the villain. So yeah, I can't say there's nothing particularly wrong with it, but it's also nothing special, but it is definitely a pretty decent 4+ set, so I think 6.5 will do just fine. Then at number 6 we have Zane's Dragon Power Spinjitzu race car, and I think this is a really unique set. You know, my problem is that this car just doesn't look good. Like, I don't know, to me it just doesn't look that good. Like, you know, it's definitely not the worst build whatsoever, but visually it could have been better. Then for the minifigures, I think that is actually a really good minifigure selection for its price. Like, I think each character in there is well placed in that set. Maybe we could use another exclusive minifigure, but I don't think that really matters that much in this kind of a set. And then you also have the card jitsu feature where the card can spin, which I think is actually really unique. Definitely a really cool idea that is executed pretty well, I would say. I think it functions quite well from what I've seen. It could have been better, but definitely a pretty cool concept at least. So yeah, I think this one could use more of a high 6.5 out of 10. At number 5, I decided to put the Creative Ninja Brick Box, which is definitely a very interesting set that, nobody really asked for, but it's somehow pretty good. What I think is a crucial factor is that this is a 5+ set. So, it's not 4+ set, but it's also not 6+, which is what we see for most regular sets. So considering this is a 5+ set, I think it does a really good job. Some of those builds are actually pretty nice, pretty cute aesthetic overall. Also get a bunch of minifigures, 2 vehicles which aren't that good, but overall I think a 5-year-old can have lots of fun with this set. But I don't think it's priced too well. I think the price really should have been a little bit better, but at least you get a lot of minifigures, which is definitely good for playability. But I wish at least one minifigure was a villain besides the Bone Warrior, because having so many figures that are supposed to be the good guys and then you just have a single villain, that's a little bit underwhelming and a little harder to provide some proper play. But overall, I still kind of want to say it's good, so I will go with more of a low 7 out of 10. So now we have 4 sets left, and I think all of those are actually well made. So at number 4 we have Elemental Dragon versus the Empress Mech. And yeah, that is actually a wild set. Like, I really like this concept. You have this giant dragon and the mech to go against it. Pretty cool, not gonna lie. And there is actually a pretty weird situation with the price, because this actually costs 105 euros and $130 in US, which I think is just weird. Like, we are kinda meant to get the same number in both currencies, which isn't the case here. Even though Americans always get the advantage here, it's not like that, as Europeans are actually getting a bit of a better deal. So as a European, I will judge it with my own price, and for 105 euros, I think that is definitely a fair price, because the dragon is actually even bigger than I would expect seeing the box art. So yeah, I think it's definitely a well-made set. The minifigures are also pretty nice, but I feel like we could have gotten another exclusive minifigure, not just that Golden Imperium Guard, which also looks really good by the way, but I just wish we could have gotten something a little more unique. But yeah, overall, I must say that I am quite happy with this set. I will go with more of a high 7.5 out of 10, but I understand that if you're an American, this can definitely be lower for you because of that price, which isn't too fair. So at number 3 we have Jace Titan Mech, which is an awesome core set, definitely one of the best core sets ever made, which unfortunately doesn't say too much, but still, it's a really well designed mech, and I will defend it in every way possible. I think the price is acceptable, but it definitely could have been a bit lower. Honestly, that's probably the worst aspect of the set, but overall I just really like the build, and I think what you're getting is some genuine good quality right there. And you also get a little villain side build, so you really have quite a bit going on, and like just a bunch of minifigures. I wish we could have gotten something more exciting than the pixel bots, but overall I think it is an awesome set. Like, really, I don't think you can go wrong with this, especially if you get it on a smaller scale. This can be really an incredible addition to your collection. So I would say it deserves 8.5 out of 10, genuinely a really great set. Now this is also going to be really controversial, but at number 2 we have the Ninjago City Markets. Now, I'm in love with Ninjago City sets, don't get me wrong. I think the Ninjago City and Gardens are pretty much the best sets ever made, alongside the movie Destiny's Bounty. So yeah, I think the Ninjago City sets can be really peak. I also really love dogs, actually. I think those are at least really great, if not amazing. It's just a little bit underwhelming to me. I don't know how to really explain it, but also in reviews you'll see that you end up with a lot of plain eras that just, you can put minifigures on there, I suppose, but overall it just really plain in some eras, which, the other sets don't really have. There's always a lot of stuff going on, which isn't really the case here. And I will say that this is a good price set. You get over 6,000 pieces for $370, which is still a lot of money. And this is still a really good looking set, but I just feel like, considering the Ninjago City concept and this being the biggest one, it could have been a little bit better in some ways. I know this is really controversial, but I think it is the worst Lego Ninjago City set so far out of the 4 that we've gotten over the years. Now, as for the minifigures, I definitely appreciate some choices, but to be honest with you, I can't say I'm really blown away by any minifigures in that set. Sure, there are some great ones, I will give you that, but it's not like the most insane minifigure selection we've gotten yet. I actually don't think that applies to any Ninjago City set, to be honest. And lastly, what I think is the best Lego Ninjago set of 2023 is gonna be the Temple of Dragon Energy Cores. And yeah, that's simply amazing, like it's really such a beautiful set. Like it's downright beautiful. Like they really cooked with this, man. Whoever designed this, like wow, like they really cooked. I love how clean the temple is, like more of a narrow build that is also pretty tall, while having this really cool sleek aesthetic, while you also have this really weird organic tree growing out of it, which I think is just insanely cool. I don't know why, I just think that design is just incredibly appealing to me. And then the minifigures, I think it's actually a really good minifigure selection, because you get some really cool minifigures that aren't exclusive, and the minifigure that's actually exclusive, that being the Spirit of the Temple, is also really incredible looking. So I think the minifigures definitely did a good job, while the build is just absolutely amazing. And now for the price, this actually costs $95, which you might think is a lot. I also thought it's a little bit pricey, but after seeing the comparison next to some of the larger sets, I think $95 is quite justified, I think 85 would be like perfect, but 95 definitely isn't a bad deal whatsoever. Actually, I forgot to mention, but I would rate the market at more of a high 8.5 out of 10, and this set would actually deserve more of a high 9 out of 10 actually. I think it's actually really amazing for what it is, like genuinely an amazing set that is designed really well and doesn't really lack in any errors. Overall, this summed up my thoughts on all Lego Ninjago 2023 sets. I hope you had a good time seeing all of these tags, but maybe you were also frustrated because my list is far different from yours, but believe me, that is fine. I would really like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Feel free to name your favorite set, your top 3, your top 5, your top 10, or if you feel like it, just rank them all, I'll be glad to take a look at your list and comment on some of your choices. This is gonna wrap up this video. Obviously, this is also going to be the last video of this year, so I really hope you have an awesome 2024. I hope you will be successful chasing down your goals. Hopefully you get to have as much fun as possible. Have a great day, and I will see you next year.